just saw, there's that viral video going around about the guy whose window was smashed. I mean, could you just because you brought it up, could you explain to me how that was okay?
Your adrenaline is out of control because you think I can be killed at any moment right now. I can't see this guy's hands. He got the windows rolled up. Is this gonna be my moment? Right. Where I'm gonna get killed and I'm never going home to my family, but I still get backlash. People still are mad at me, even though I've been right about every police thing that I've covered.
This video is brought to you by SHINERGY Life, ladies and gentlemen. If you're sick of being soft, if you're sick of your T levels being low, if you're tired of being a Democrat, won't you get you some T-Force and become a man today, all right? We had the original T-Force, which is the regular T-Force, and then we made it advanced. I suggest you take this with food and you take it before a workout to maximize. Get you some T-Force today, 25% off because I hate these white bottles and I want to get them out of here, to be honest. We give you a discount code for 25% off. Get you some T-Force today. God bless you, God bless America, and let's get strong, baby.
Just because you just mentioned it, I just saw, there's that viral video going around about the guy whose window was smashed. I mean, could you just because you brought it up, could you explain to me how that was okay? Because I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, okay and justified according to the law is two different things.
Michael's
right?
a bit of a libtard, so I'm just kidding.
Tell me, I want to know.
No, it's totally fine. I think everybody should question these things and they should hear viewpoints, right? Subjectively, a person may think that it's not okay to strike people no matter what. Subjectively. Objectively, you have to look at the law and the justification for use of force against people at any given time. The totality of circumstances, in my personal opinion, would lead an officer to have that leverage to say, if I believe that a face strike while I'm trying to pull a guy out of the car because he's non-compliant was justifiable for me to execute an arrest, an officer can utilize that force. Now, I don't know if you saw the body-worn camera. They produced the body-worn camera. Oh, that's crucial. Okay. They produced the body-worn camera yesterday. The sheriff came out and articulated very clearly what was going on. And so at the very beginning, they pull up. He was non-compliant. He literally told them, no, I'm not doing anything you told me to do. He shut the door, locked it, and said, send your supervisor. I'm not doing anything. The cop told him 7 times, you're under arrest for obstruction. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. You're under arrest for obstruction. Everything the officer did was according to the law. It wasn't even a violent interaction initially. The officer was saying, sir, you're under arrest, sir. And the officer actually told him exactly why he pulled him over. He said, you pulled you over for not having your headlights on in inclement weather, and you didn't have a seatbelt on. And the guy was just completely combative for the first several minutes before he turned his camera on. Then when he turned his camera on, it already has escalated. They have police officers that have responded. They have 6 or 7 officers that have now responded because this guy's non-compliant. These situations become very violent quickly. If you've ever been a cop, cops know a guy could be doing all this because he's going to pull a gun out. He's going to pull off on the traffic stop. He's a wanted murderer. There's a lot of things that could be possibilities which will make officers heighten their suspicion when somebody's acting like this over a headlight infraction, which is a civil infraction. But then when you go to extracting them from the car, I think the cop could have went without the palm strike to the face. But according to the law, according to what the attorney general said, nothing that he did was illegal and out of the bounds of use of force policy. But then when they pulled him out of the car, punching him in the face, it's not pretty, but we can utilize that level of force to execute an arrest. And you saw when he punched him in the face, when he was out of the car, he complied. So those things to the public may seem a little bit extreme, which I understand. But when you're a police officer and you deal with use of force every day, you realize a cop got to do whatever a cop believes is necessary to get this guy under control because you don't know him.
Yeah, they pay the ultimate price for hesitation or making a mistake in assessing a situation. So for us to watch and say, shame on you, it's like, well, you know what? You don't see all the cops that were killed because they hesitated.
Cops see cops that are killed. They should send us a briefing every day, and when we go to the briefing meeting, the first 15 minutes of our shift, we do briefing, and then we go out and patrol. It's kind of like a little time to collect ourselves before we overlap.
Right.
But they should send us cops that get killed every day. So every day we get a list of all the police officers that have been killed and the circumstances that they've been killed in. And there's so many cops that have been killed on traffic stop in this very scenario where a guy's non-compliant for what seems to be a basic traffic stop. He shuts the door and then he has a gun. And now he's got a reason to be hyped up and and cops get killed. They walk up to the window and they get killed. If you watch the video, the body camera that I shared, and I'm gonna do a breakdown of it today later, you'll see that the cop stands off to the back quarter panel of the car because he has to be in a tactical advantage because you don't know who this guy is. It's not reasonable to get mad over a headlight infraction. You know what I'm saying? So, but then what happened is he had drugs on him. He had a knife on the floorboard. He was driving on suspended license. He didn't have a seatbelt on, and he also didn't have his headlight on. He pled guilty to all of those. He pled guilty to not having a headlight and obviously resisting arrest, which he was charged for. He was found guilty. It was adjudicated. Everything was fine. 6 months later, he produced this video, obviously in order to make a little money, which he will.
There's an interesting connection here, I think, between the uproar over what's happening in Gaza and this. It's it's a lot of people who don't have any interaction with bad people and force are just outraged by it being used in any capacity, and they can't wrap their heads around that there are people out there who have bad intentions.
Yeah, you go on a ride along. I tell anybody to go on a ride along. Go on a ride along. And then if you were on a ride along, you would have been at that traffic stop and you can feel this emotion. Yeah. Like when your life is on the line, when you're watching it from the TV, you're like, oh man, they just rambling and they're scuffling a little bit. He slaps him in the face. He didn't. When you're physically there, your adrenaline is out of control because you think I can be killed at any moment right now. I can't see this guy's hands. He got the windows rolled up. Is this going to be my moment where I'm going to get killed and I'm never going home to my family? Why is this guy getting so worked up over a traffic stop? This is a warning. Hey, Jude, turn your lights on.
Right.
Is this guy going to produce a weapon? Is this a mass murderer? Is this guy running from the law? Did he just kill somebody? Like,
you don't know.
I felt it. Bro, when I was a cop, you feel this adrenaline where you kind of get afraid and then you get, kind of worked up, and palm striking in the moment seemed reasonable to you when you're worked up and this guy's uncompliant and there's so much going on. When you go look at it, you go, yeah, he could have went without the palm strike. I mean, it's the same. The judgment, I think, is rooted in the same place and animated by the same thing as the people who watch what we're talking about with Israel and Gaza. And they're like, these soldiers going in, why did they have to react that way? I feel like, well, does your experience as an officer provide you unique insight in the way you judge situations in the Middle East or what's going on in Israel and all of these things? You're like, I know that things aren't what they seem as they're portrayed on an algorithm, on a quick little footage from the outside. Having been a police officer, been in combat, been in these scenarios where the vibe and the energy is a very different thing than when you're watching a body cam footage or some kind of security drone. It's a very different scenario when you're in a booby-trapped house or you're doing a traffic stop which could end in disaster. Does that give you a unique insight, you think, in watching all these kinds of things that are portrayed? In two ways it does. It desensitized me to knee-jerk emotional responses to violence. Right. Because I know I've seen it and I've seen the worst of it. I've seen people literally decapitated. I've seen people get beat to death. Wow. I've seen people shot to death. And I physically see them take their last breath. It's an experience that when you have it changes the way you look at the world and the way you look at conflict. And I also know enough that you can't always go off of the first thing you see. You have to put things in context and try to put yourself in the position of everybody involved. And just imagine if you have never seen a person beheaded, like see a head over here and the body over here. If you've never seen people beat to death or what it looks like to be shot with a 7.62 from an AK-47 in the way a person looks when they've been ripped to shreds by this type of weapon, and you have to pick their body parts up and put them in a bag, and the emotional toll and the smell of gunpowder and flesh and all this. If you have never felt that and been there, then you don't know the fear and the perception that an IDF soldier has against a person that's willing to do that to an innocent human being. How much more are they willing to do this in combat with me? So the height of frustration, fear, anxiety, all of that goes into the interactions that you see with soldiers fighting on the front lines. A lot of these people don't know how many IDF soldiers have been murdered in this conflict, even on October 7th. They don't know how much conflict it is when you're going into Gaza, uncharted territory. You don't know who's a terrorist, who's a civilian. You don't know if it's booby trapped. Some of them are getting shot and killed. You don't know if they're shooting from buildings. You have no idea what's going on, but you don't have a choice. You are fighting on behalf of your country and the legacy of the existence of Israel. And you are going to uncharted territory, in some cases to die. And nobody knows the fear of what is it like when I die. You see what it's like when he died. You see what it's like with a gunshot wound to the head. What am I going to end up like him? What is it going to feel like when I take a shot to the neck or the chest and I'm bleeding out? And what does my last words look like? That stuff is a lot more complicated than what the average person sitting on the couch is observing. But I will say this. But you also have to listen to both sides, because you hear the pundit say, they just blew up a church. They just shot innocent people at a feed zone. And then you go and you say, okay, what does the IDF say? And you look at the IDF and they go, that didn't happen. Here is what the video show. Here's the millions of leaflets that we dropped. Here are the phone calls that we make. Here are IDF soldiers escorting innocent people out of harm's way.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, wait a minute. That's not the narrative that was told for me. They're telling me that they're innocent killing people. And let me just say this too.
Yep.
I've been to Israel. I've seen IDF soldiers. They're average people that have to serve. Unlike in America where you can voluntarily serve or not. They're regular people. Do you have the audacity to think that the average woman or man that grows up in Israel in a peaceful environment has it out to just murder innocent people with no due regard, no emotional reaction to it? I don't think so. Right. I've seen those people, man. Some of them look kind of scary. Some of them, I mean, like scared. Some of them look like just a little kid. They don't have any choice. They got to serve whether they bad to the bone or not. And so that puts me in the perception to say, maybe there's more to it. How is the rules of engagement going? Let me look at IDF and listen to Palestinians and let me put it in proper perspective.